A 12-year-old girl walks into Judge Caprio's courtroom with an attitude that would make grown adults uncomfortable. She is not here for herself. She is here because her mother brought her. But what starts as a simple traffic hearing turns into a life lesson this child will never forget. Let us know where you are watching from, because this story about respect, consequences, and parenting resonates everywhere, especially with those who believe that raising good humans matters more than raising comfortable ones. Asterisk, Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m., Providence Municipal Court. Judge Frank Caprio sits at his bench reviewing the afternoon docket. The case seems routine at first glance. Sarah Martinez, age 34, cited for 3 unpaid parking tickets and an expired vehicle registration. Nothing unusual. Nothing that would suggest what is about to unfold in this courtroom. Asterisk. The bailiff calls the case, and the heavy wooden doors at the back of the room swing open. Sarah Martinez enters first. She is a woman in her mid-30s wearing scrubs, the kind nurses wear after a long shift. Her shoulders are slightly hunched, carrying the weight of exhaustion that comes from working multiple jobs. Her hair is pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her eyes show the weariness of someone who has not had a full night's sleep in years. She walks toward the bench with the hesitant steps of someone who knows they are in the wrong, but does not have the resources to make it right. Asterisk behind her, moving with an entirely different energy, comes Madison. Madison Martinez is 12 years old, but she carries herself with the confidence of someone who has never been told no and meant it. She is wearing designer clothes head to toe, the kind of outfit that costs more than her mother probably makes in a week. Expensive sneakers that look like they have never touched actual pavement. A jacket with a logo that screams status. Gold jewelry catches the courtroom lights. Bracelets jangling as she walks. Asterisk, but it is not the clothes that catch everyone's attention. It is the attitude radiating from every movement she makes. Her face is buried in her phone, thumbs moving rapidly across the screen. White earbuds are wedged in both ears, the cord dangling against her chest. She does not look up when she enters, does not acknowledge the judge, the bailiff, or even the other people in the gallery who have turned to watch this unusual entrance. She is in her own world, and that world clearly does not include this courtroom or anything happening in it. Asterisk, her mother glances back at her, a look that mixes embarrassment with resignation. The expression of a parent who has fought this battle too many times and lost. The gallery, the collection of people waiting for their own cases or simply observing the proceedings, immediately picks up on the dynamic. An elderly woman in the third row leans toward her companion and whispers something, shaking her head. A middle-aged man in a work uniform crosses his arms, his expression already showing disapproval. Even the court clerk glances up from her computer, eyebrows raised slightly. There is an energy in the room now, a collective awareness that something is off about this picture. Asterisk, Judge Caprio watches the pair approach. His expression remains neutral, professional, but his eyes are sharp. He has been on the bench long enough to read people, to see beyond the surface, and what he is seeing now concerns him. A tired mother in medical scrubs who cannot afford basic expenses. A daughter dripping in luxury brands, completely disconnected from the struggle happening right beside her. Asterisk, he clears his throat and speaks, his voice calm and measured. Miss Martinez, please approach the bench. Asterisk, Sarah Martinez steps forward, but before she can speak, Madison's voice cuts through the courtroom. Can we hurry this up? I have plans. Asterisk, the words are loud enough to carry, spoken with the casual entitlement of someone who genuinely believes their time is more valuable than everyone else's. She still has not looked up from her phone. Asterisk, Sarah's face flushes red with embarrassment. She turns slightly, her voice a harsh whisper. Madison, please, not now. Asterisk, Judge Caprio's expression does not change, but there is a subtle shift in his posture. He leans forward slightly, his hands folding on the bench in front of him. Young lady, I am speaking with your mother. Please wait quietly. Asterisk, it is a simple request, stated with the calm authority of someone who expects to be heard. But Madison does not remove her earbuds. She does not even look up. Instead, she lets out an audible sigh, dramatic and exaggerated. The kind of sound designed to communicate maximum irritation with minimum effort. She shifts her weight from one expensive sneaker to the other, her entire body language screaming impatience. Asterisk, the gallery reacts immediately. More whispers ripple through the benches. A woman in the back shakes her head in disbelief. The man in the work uniform uncrosses his arms only to cross them again tighter, his jaw clenched. Even the bailiff, standing near the door with the practiced stillness of someone who has seen everything, raises his eyebrows slightly. This level of disrespect is uncommon, especially not from a child. Asterisk, Judge Caprio notes every reaction, his experienced eyes taking in the room's temperature. He returns his attention to Sarah Martinez, but makes a mental note. This will not be his last interaction with the young lady standing behind her. Asterisk, Judge Caprio turns his full attention to Sarah Martinez, his voice returning to its professional tone. Ms. Martinez, you are here regarding 3 unpaid parking tickets totaling $450, plus an expired vehicle registration. Can you explain your situation? Asterisk, Sarah takes a breath, her hands clasped tightly in front of her, knuckles white with tension. Your Honor, I work as a registered nurse at Providence General. I have been picking up extra shifts wherever I can, and I also work weekends doing catering to make ends meet. The tickets, they just piled up while I was trying to keep everything else together. My registration expired because I could not afford the renewal and the repair work the car needed to pass inspection at the same time. Asterisk. Her voice is steady but quiet. The voice of someone who has had to explain their financial struggles too many times to too many people. I am not making excuses, Your Honor. I know I should have handled this sooner. I am just asking for time to pay. I can do $50 a month if that is acceptable. Asterisk, Judge Caprio nods, his expression softening slightly as he reviews her file. Before he can respond, Madison's voice slices through the moment like a knife. Oh my God, Mom, just pay it so we can leave. This is taking forever. Asterisk, every head in the courtroom turns. The interruption is so brazenly disrespectful that for a moment there is complete silence. Even the clerk stops typing. Asterisk. Sarah's face goes from embarrassed red to mortified crimson. She turns to her daughter, her voice sharp but desperate. Madison Marie, I need you to be quiet right now. Please. Asterisk. Madison finally looks up from her phone, but only to roll her eyes dramatically. Whatever, she draws the word out, making it 3 syllables, each one dripping with contempt. Asterisk, Judge Caprio's expression hardens. His voice remains calm, but there is steel underneath now. Young lady, I need you to remain silent while I am speaking with your mother. This is a courtroom, not a social gathering. Asterisk. Madison looks directly at the judge for the first time. She does not remove her earbuds. She does not put her phone away. Instead, she meets his gaze with a smirk that suggests she finds this entire proceeding beneath her. Fine, she says the single word, loaded with insolence. Then she looks back down at her phone, thumbs resuming their rapid movement across the screen. Asterisk. The gallery erupts in whispers. A woman near the front mutters just loud enough to be heard. Unbelievable. An older man shakes his head slowly, his face showing the kind of disapproval that comes from a different generation, one that would not have tolerated such behavior for a single second. Asterisk. Judge Caprio allows the moment to settle before returning to Sarah. Ms. Martinez, you mentioned you are a nurse. How long have you been working in healthcare? Asterisk. Sarah seems grateful for the redirect, eager to move past her daughter's behavior. Sure are years, Your Honor. I work in the emergency department. It is demanding, but I love helping people. Asterisk. The judge nods. And you are raising your daughter alone. Asterisk. Sarah hesitates, and in that hesitation, an entire story lives. Yes, Your Honor. Her father and I divorced 3 years ago. It is just the 2 of us now. Before the judge can ask another question, Madison interjects again, this time without even looking up from her phone. Not really alone. I see Dad all the time. He actually has money. The statement hangs in the air, cruel in its casual delivery. Sarah's shoulders slump forward as if she has been physically struck. Her eyes glisten with the beginning of tears that she is clearly fighting to hold back. The gallery's reaction is immediate and visceral. Gasps and sharp intakes of breath echo through the room. The woman who muttered earlier now sits forward, her hand pressed to her chest as if personally wounded by the comment. The elderly man, who had been shaking his head now, stares at Madison with open disbelief. Judge Caprio's hands tighten almost imperceptibly on the edge of his bench. Miss Martinez, he says to Madison, his voice dropping to a tone that makes everyone in the courtroom sit up straighter. That comment was disrespectful and cruel. You will not speak that way about your mother in this courtroom or anywhere else in my presence. Madison shrugs, a gesture of supreme indifference. I am just saying the truth. Mom works all the time, and we are still broke. Dad works and actually has nice things. It is just facts. Sarah makes a small sound, something between a gasp and a sob that she tries to swallow. She turns away from her daughter, facing the judge fully now, as if physically blocking Madison from her line of sight might somehow block the pain of those words. Your Honor, I apologize for my daughter's behavior. This is not how I raised her. Judge Caprio's gaze shifts between mother and daughter, his experienced eyes reading the dynamic with clarity. Clearly someone is raising her differently now. Sarah's voice drops to barely above a whisper. Her father, he fills her head with ideas about success and money. He buys her things I cannot afford, makes me look like a failure in her eyes. Madison scoffs loudly. You make yourself look like a failure, Mom. I do not need Dad's help with that. The courtroom explodes in reaction. Multiple people gasp audibly. A woman in the back row stands up, her face flushed with anger before her companion pulls her back down. The bailiff takes a step forward, his hand moving instinctively toward his position by the judge's bench. Sensing that the situation is escalating beyond a typical hearing, Judge Caprio raises one hand, a simple gesture that immediately quiets the room. His voice when he speaks carries the weight of decades on the bench and the authority of someone who has seen every kind of human behavior and will not be shocked, but also will not tolerate certain lines being crossed. Miss Martinez, he says, addressing Madison directly, his eyes locked on hers with an intensity that finally makes her look up from her phone and actually pay attention. You have just crossed the line in my courtroom. The courtroom is silent in a way that feels heavy, oppressive. Every person in the gallery leans forward slightly. Sensing that something significant is about to happen, Judge Caprio's gaze remains fixed on Madison, who has finally stopped looking at her phone, though she still holds it in her hand like a security blanket. The smirk is still there, but it has lost some of its confidence. Something in the judge's tone has finally penetrated her bubble of entitlement. Your Honor, Sarah begins, her voice shaking. I can handle this at home. Please, let us just discuss the tickets. Judge Caprio raises his hand gently, his eyes never leaving Madison. Miss Martinez, your mother is trying to protect you right now. The question is whether you deserve that protection. Madison's phone suddenly buzzes loudly, the vibration audible in the quiet courtroom. Without thinking, without any awareness of how inappropriate it is, she looks down at the screen. Her face lights up. It is my dad. She announces as if this information is relevant and important. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through with surgical precision. Put that phone away immediately. Madison's thumb hovers over the screen. But he is calling me, I said immediately. There is no anger in the judge's voice, but there is something more powerful than anger. There is absolute authority, the kind that cannot be argued with or negotiated. Madison hesitates, then makes a choice that will define the rest of this hearing. She answers the call. Dad? Yeah? I am stuck in court with Mom. She is being all dramatic about parking tickets again. The courtroom erupts. Multiple voices rise at once. The bailiff moves forward quickly. Judge Caprio's hand comes down on his gavel once, the sharp crack silencing the room instantly. Miss Martinez, end that call right now and hand your phone to the bailiff. Madison pulls the phone away from her ear, staring at the judge with genuine shock. You cannot just take my phone. That is like illegal or something. In this courtroom, I can and I will, bailiff. The bailiff extends his hand, his expression neutral but firm. Madison clutches the phone to her chest. This is theft. My dad is a lawyer. He will sue you. Judge Caprio's eyebrows rise slightly. Your father is a lawyer. Madison nods vigorously, seeing this as her trump card. Yes, and he said, I never have to let anyone take my property without cause. The judge's expression does not change, but something shifts in his eyes. Understanding, perhaps, or confirmation of a suspicion. He looks at Sarah Martinez. Miss Martinez is your ex-husband an attorney? Sarah nods miserably, her face in her hands now. Yes, Your Honor. He practices corporate law downtown, and does he pay child support as ordered by the court? Sarah's voice is barely audible. He is supposed to pay $800 a month. He is 8 months behind. The gallery's reaction is immediate and loud. Whispers turn to exclamations. A man in the second row says clearly, 8 months. A woman nearby adds, but he can buy her all that. She gestures toward Madison's expensive outfit. Judge Caprio picks up a pen and makes a note. By months. That is $6,400. Sarah nods, unable to speak. And yet, your daughter just mentioned he has money for nice things. Sarah's voice breaks. He lives in a penthouse downtown with his new wife. Takes Madison shopping every other weekend. Buys her whatever she wants. I cannot compete with that, and he knows it. Madison's face flushes. You are just jealous because Dad upgraded. The words are meant to wound, and they hit their target perfectly. Sarah makes a sound like she has been punched. Several people in the gallery gasp audibly. One woman stands up, pointing at Madison before the bailiff gestures for her to sit. Judge Caprio's voice when he speaks is quiet, but fills every corner of the room. Miss Martinez, give the phone to the bailiff now, or I will hold you in contempt of court. Madison's bravado finally cracks. I am 12. You cannot hold a kid in contempt. Watch me. The bailiff takes another step closer. Madison looks at her mother for help, but Sarah has turned away, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. The reality of the situation finally seems to penetrate Madison's armor. With exaggerated reluctance and a dramatic sigh, she hands the phone to the bailiff. This is so unfair, she mutters. Judge Caprio accepts the phone from the bailiff and places it on his bench. Now, Miss Martinez, you are going to stand there quietly while I speak with your mother. If you interrupt again, there will be consequences you will not like. Do you understand? Madison crosses her arms tightly across her chest, but nods. I asked you a question. Do you understand? Yes, Madison says through gritted teeth. Yes, what? Madison's eyes flash with anger, but she is smart enough to recognize she is losing this battle. Yes, Your Honor. Judge Caprio returns his attention to Sarah, his expression softening considerably. Miss Martinez, tell me about your situation. Not the tickets. Your life. Sarah wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. I do not want to burden the court with my problems. Your Honor, you are not burdening anyone. I am asking, so please tell me. Sarah takes a shaky breath. After the divorce, I got the house, but I also got the mortgage and all the debt we had accumulated. My ex got his career and his freedom. I work 60 hours a week between the hospital and catering jobs. I am trying to save for Madison's college, trying to keep food on the table, trying to maintain a car that is falling apart. The tickets, I just could not pay them when they came. I kept meaning to, but there was always something more urgent. The electric bill, Madison's school fees, medical expenses, and your ex-husband. He pays nothing. Sarah shakes her head. He claims his new wife is pregnant and he needs to save money for the baby. His lawyer keeps filing motions for reduced support. We have been in family court 4 times in 2 years. I cannot afford to keep fighting him. Judge Caprio makes another note, and during this time, he has been taking your daughter shopping, buying her expensive clothes. Sarah nods. Every other weekend, she comes home with bags of things I could never afford. Designer clothes, jewelry, the latest phone, and she looks at me like I am the failure because I cannot give her those things because I am too busy working to keep the lights on. If you cannot believe what you are watching, hit that like button and subscribe to Judge Stories for more moments where truth meets justice. Judge Caprio sits back in his chair, his fingers steepled in front of his face. Judge Caprio lowers his hands and looks directly at Madison, who is still standing with her arms crossed, her body language radiating defiance. Even though her eyes show the first hints of uncertainty, Miss Martinez comes stand directly in front of my bench. Madison does not move immediately. Mom, she says, her voice taking on a whining quality. Tell him I do not have to. Sarah does not turn around. She keeps her back to her daughter, her shoulders still trembling slightly. Do what the judge says, Madison. Her voice is flat, empty of the usual maternal protectiveness. Madison shuffles forward reluctantly, her expensive sneakers squeaking slightly on the polished courtroom floor. She stops a few feet from the bench, refusing to make eye contact. Judge Caprio waits until she looks up. When their eyes meet, he speaks in a tone that is neither harsh nor gentle, but carries the weight of someone who has seen too many lives damaged by the same patterns. Madison, do you know what your mother does at her job? Madison shrugs. She is a nurse. I asked if you know what she does, not what her title is. Madison's face shows irritation. She takes care of sick people or whatever. I do not know the details. Judge Caprio nods slowly. She saves lives. She holds the hands of dying patients. She works holidays and weekends. She comes home exhausted and still has to take care of you. And what do you do, Madison? What do you contribute? The question hangs in the air. Madison's mouth opens and closes. I am in middle school. I do not have to contribute anything. I am a kid. That is interesting. The judge says, you are a kid when it comes to responsibility, but you are old enough to judge your mother's worth based on her bank account. Madison's face flushes. That is not what I said. It is exactly what you said. You told this entire courtroom that your father has money and your mother does not, implying that makes him better, makes him more successful, makes him more worthy of respect. Madison looks away. I did not mean it like that. How did you mean it? Silence. Madison stares at the floor. Judge Caprio continues. When was the last time you thanked your mother for anything? Madison's voice is small, now defensive. I do not know. Why does that matter? Because gratitude matters. Respect matters. Your mother is standing here humiliated because she could not pay parking tickets while working 60 hours a week to support you. And you are standing here acting like she is an inconvenience. Madison's arms tighten across her chest. She does not say anything, but her jaw is clenched. Judge Caprio leans forward. Let me tell you something about your father, Madison. A man who is 8 months behind on child support, but takes you shopping for designer clothes, is not teaching you about success. He is teaching you about manipulation. He is buying your loyalty because it is easier than being a real parent. The courtroom is absolutely silent. Every eye is on Madison, whose face has gone pale. That is not true. He loves me. I am sure he does. But love without responsibility is just empty words. Your mother loves you too. The difference is, she is actually sacrificing for you every single day. Madison's voice cracks slightly. You do not understand. You do not know what it is like. You are right. I do not know what it is like to be 12 years old with divorced parents, but I do know what it is like to watch children grow into adults who have no concept of respect, gratitude, or empathy, because no one taught them those things when it mattered. And right now, Madison, you are on that path. A single tear rolls down Madison's cheek, though she quickly wipes it away. Trying to maintain her tough exterior, Judge Caprio's voice softens slightly, but remains firm. Here is what is going to happen. Your mother came here today asking for help with tickets she cannot afford because she has been too busy keeping your life together. I am going to reduce her total fines to $50 and give her 90 days to pay. Madison's face shows the beginning of relief, thinking this ordeal is over. Can we go now? No, because you are not done here. What? Judge Caprio's expression becomes serious again. You may not be the one with the traffic citation, but you have shown such profound disrespect in this courtroom that I am making a judgment call about your character and your future. Madison's eyes widen. What does that mean? It means I am ordering you to complete 40 hours of community service. You cannot do that. I am just a kid, You keep saying that, but you have not been acting like a child. You have been acting like someone who thinks the world owes them something. Community service will teach you otherwise. Madison turns to her mother desperately. Mom, tell him he cannot do this. Sarah finally turns around. Her eyes are red from crying, but there is something new in her expression, something harder, more resolved. Your Honor, she says quietly. I support your decision completely. Madison's mouth drops open in betrayal. Mom, what are you doing? Sarah takes a step toward her daughter. For years, Madison, I have made excuses for your behavior. I have told myself, it is the divorce. It is your father's influence. It is your age. But today, watching you disrespect me in front of all these people, I realized I have been failing you by not setting boundaries. Judge Caprio is right. You need to learn what real work looks like, what real struggle looks like. Madison's voice rises to a near shout. I cannot believe you are doing this to me. You are supposed to be on my side. Asterisk, I am on your side, Sarah says, her voice steady now, despite the tears still streaming down her face. That is exactly why I am agreeing with this. Because letting you continue down this path is not love. It is neglect. Asterisk, Judge Caprio nods approvingly at Sarah before returning his attention to Madison. You will complete your 40 hours at Sunset Nursing Home. You will help care for elderly patients who have no family visiting them. People who worked their entire lives and are now alone. You will do it every Saturday for the next 10 weeks. 4 hours each day. Asterisk, Madison's face is now streaked with tears, her carefully constructed armor completely shattered. This is not fair. Asterisk, fair. Judge Caprio's voice takes on an edge. Your mother working 2 jobs while your father lives in luxury is not fair. Your mother going without so you can have school supplies is not fair, but consequences for your behavior. That is not about fairness. That is about accountability. And Madison, accountability is something you are about to learn intimately. Asterisk, the gallery sits in stunned silence, many nodding in agreement, some wiping their own eyes. Asterisk, Judge Caprio is not finished. Before you leave this courtroom, you owe your mother an apology. Asterisk, Madison stands frozen, her face wet with tears, her body language completely different from the arrogant girl who walked in an hour ago. Asterisk, Judge Caprio's words hang in the air like a sentence waiting to be carried out. You owe your mother an apology, and you are going to give it to her right here, right now. In front of everyone in this courtroom. Asterisk, Madison's voice comes out as a whisper. Can I just apologize at home? Asterisk, no. You disrespected her publicly. You humiliated her in front of strangers. You will apologize the same way. Asterisk, Madison looks at her mother, whose face shows a mixture of pain and something else, something that might be hope. The courtroom is so quiet that the sound of the air conditioning becomes noticeable, a low hum filling the space where human voices should be. Asterisk, Madison takes a shaky breath. Mom, I am sorry. Asterisk, Judge Caprio's voice is gentle, but unyielding. Say it like you mean it, Madison. Look at her. Really look at her and say what you are sorry for. Asterisk, Madison's face crumples. Fresh tears spill down her cheeks, taking mascara with them in dark streaks. She takes a step toward her mother, her hands trembling at her sides. Mom, she begins again, her voice breaking on the single syllable. I am sorry for what I said about you, about Dad having money and you being broke. I am sorry for being embarrassed of you. I am sorry for not seeing how hard you work. Her voice drops to barely audible. I am sorry for making you feel like you are not enough, because you are. You are more than enough. Asterisk, Sarah's face transforms. The hardness that had settled there moments ago melts away, replaced by the tender expression of a mother who has waited years to hear these words. She opens her arms, and Madison collapses into them, sobbing against her mother's shoulder. The expensive jacket and designer labels seem ridiculous now. Costumes on a child who suddenly looks very young and very lost. Asterisk, Sarah wraps her arms around her daughter, one hand coming up to stroke her hair, the automatic gesture of maternal comfort that transcends anger and hurt. I love you, Sarah whispers. I have always loved you, even when you make it hard, especially when you make it hard. Asterisk, the gallery watches with tissues pressed to eyes. The woman who had gasped earlier is crying openly. The man in the work uniform has his hand over his mouth, his own eyes glistening. Even the bailiff, who prides himself on professional detachment, looks away for a moment, blinking rapidly. Asterisk, Judge Caprio watches the embrace with an expression that suggests this is why he does this job. Not for the fines or the regulations, but for these moments when something broken begins to mend. He allows them a long moment before speaking again, his voice soft. Miss Martinez, look at me. Asterisk, Madison pulls back from her mother, wiping her face with her hands, leaving smears of makeup across her cheeks. You are going to start your community service this Saturday. The coordinator at Sunset Nursing Home is expecting you at 9 o'clock in the morning. You will work until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You will do this for 10 consecutive Saturdays. Asterisk, Madison nods, unable to speak. Asterisk, and Madison. One more thing. Yes, Your Honor, this is not a punishment designed to hurt you. It is an opportunity to grow into someone better than who you were today. The people you are going to help, they have lived full lives. They have worked hard. They have struggled. They have wisdom you need. If you are smart, you will listen to them. Asterisk Madison nods again, something in her expression suggesting the message has landed. Thank you, Your Honor, she says quietly. Asterisk 6 weeks pass. The courtroom is busy on a Thursday afternoon when Sarah Martinez appears again, this time without a citation, without a legal obligation to be there. She is asked to speak with Judge Caprio, and he has agreed to see her during a break in the docket. Asterisk, she enters with Madison beside her, and the change in the girl is immediately visible. The expensive clothes are gone, replaced with simple jeans and a modest sweater. No jewelry, except small earrings. Her hair is pulled back in a practical ponytail similar to her mother's. Most notably, there is no phone in her hand. She walks beside her mother instead of behind her. And when they approach the bench, she meets the judge's eyes with something that looks like respect. Asterisk, Miss Martinez. Judge Caprio says with a slight smile, I was not expecting to see you back so soon. I hope everything is all right. Asterisk Sarah's face breaks into a genuine smile. The first one anyone in this courtroom has seen from her. Everything is more than all right, Your Honor. I wanted to update you on Madison's progress, and she wanted to say something herself. Asterisk Judge Caprio nods at Madison. Go ahead. Asterisk Madison takes a breath, her voice steady and clear. Your Honor, I have completed 32 of my 40 hours at Sunset. I wanted to come tell you that it has been, she pauses, searching for the right word, life-changing. I met a woman there, Mrs. Chin. She is 84, and no one visits her anymore. She worked 3 jobs her whole life to send her kids to college. When she talks about her life, about her struggles, I see my mom. I see what my mom is doing for me. Asterisk Judge Caprio leans back in his chair, his expression pleased. And what else have you learned? Asterisk Madison glances at her mother before continuing, I have learned that the stuff Dad buys me does not mean anything if it comes at Mom's expense. I blocked his wife on social media because she was always making comments about Mom not being able to afford things, and I have been helping more at home, doing dishes without being asked, helping with laundry, small stuff, but Mom notices. Asterisk Sarah reaches over and squeezes Madison's hand. She has been wonderful, Your Honor. She even got a part-time job at the library to help with expenses. She wants to contribute now instead of just take. Asterisk Judge Caprio's eyes show approval. Madison, do you remember what I told you about punishment being an opportunity? Asterisk Madison nods. You said it is a chance to become someone better. Asterisk, and have you? Asterisk Madison's voice is firm. I am trying every day. I am not perfect, but I am trying. That is all any of us can do. The judge stands. A gesture of respect that surprises both mother and daughter. Miss Martinez, both of you came here weeks ago as 2 people who had lost their way with each other. You are leaving today as a family that is finding its way back. That is the best outcome this court could hope for. Asterisk Sarah's eyes fill with tears again, but these are different. These are tears of gratitude and relief. Asterisk Judge Caprio has one final piece of wisdom. Madison, the world is going to tell you that success is measured in money and possessions. Your mother has shown you the truth. Success is measured in character, in sacrifice, in love that does not quit, even when things are hard. Do not forget that lesson. Asterisk Madison shakes her head. I will not, Your Honor. I promise. Asterisk, as they turn to leave, Madison puts her arm around her mother's shoulders, and Sarah leans into her daughter. The 2 of them walking out together in a way they have not in years. The courtroom watches them go, and when the door closes, Judge Caprio sits back down with a small, satisfied smile. Asterisk. Do not forget to subscribe to Judge Stories for more incredible courtroom moments where entitled behavior meets real consequences and where judges like Frank Caprio remind us that justice is about more than laws. It is about lessons that change lives. Hit that like button if you believe every child deserves to learn the value of respect and hard work. And drop a comment telling us what you would have done in Judge Caprio's position. Because at the end of the day, this story is not just about a disrespectful child or a struggling mother. It is about all of us and the values we choose to pass on to the next generation. It is about remembering that the greatest wealth we can give our children is not found in shopping bags or bank accounts. It is found in character, compassion, and the courage to be better than we were.